So there we have it. What an African qualification campaign it has been. There's been many ups and many downs, of course, for the 54 African nations that took part. 53 of them played games. One of them, Eritrea, didn't play any qualification matches, yet they probably had the biggest impact on the whole qualification, considering that it was Eritrea's withdrawal that pretty much handed Nigeria their golden ticket into these playoffs, because with the results not counting against the teams that came last, Nigeria only took 2 points against bottom-placed Zimbabwe. So it's worked out well in the end. I've seen people coming out and saying all sorts of things like CAF are corrupt and all this sort of thing, and particularly the Burkina Faso people are clearly feeling very hard done by because they got so many points and they missed out on the playoffs by 1 goal scored. I mean, if they'd just beaten Ethiopia 3-0 instead of 3-1, probably would have been enough. So they've got to look at themselves as well. But in terms of calls of corruption and saying, oh, you've done this to let Nigeria and Cameroon enter the playoffs and have a second chance, I don't buy that. You know, I'm very quick to call out CAF, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's what's happened here. I just think there's some usually bitter teams when they miss out, always looking to make excuses. But the bottom line is that Nigeria, Cameroon, Gabon and DR Congo will contest the African playoffs. Now, this is not the same as the playoffs that would usually happen in African FIFA World Cup qualifiers where the teams play each other and the winner goes to the tournament. Oh no, we already know the 9 teams going to the tournament. They are Morocco, Algeria, Egypt and Tunisia, the big 4, all from North Africa going for the first time ever. Cape Verde going for the first time ever alongside Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana as well. So it's going to be a good tournament. Hopefully we're going to see some really good football. Of course, the South Africans are going to be there as well, and they'll be bringing the colour, the fans, the noise, the vuvuzelas for sure. How are these playoffs going to pan out? Well, it's going to be a little playoff tournament in Morocco in November, and it's going to be done by FIFA ranking. Nigeria, who just sneaked in, who came 4th in these playoff rankings, they're going to face Gabon, who they got a lot of points. Gabon, it was 25 points. And they didn't come first. 25 points, what Gabon amassed, would have been probably enough to win most of the other groups, right? But of course, they're in the group with Cote d'Ivoire, the African champions, who didn't even concede a single goal, like the Tunisians, in this campaign. So, Nigeria, Gabon, what an effort from Gabon. It feels like Aubameyang and Bouanga and Lamina, one last dance, their final push to get Gabon to a World Cup. I don't think we're ever going to see Gabon in the World Cup in our lifetime. If they don't make it to this one, they're not going to get a player like Aubameyang again. Surely he can sign off with a World Cup, because Aubameyang's still scoring the goals. He went to Saudi, came back, and look what he did in that qualifying game. Didn't he score 4 goals and then get sent off? So luckily he was suspended in match day 10. So if he'd scored 4 goals and got sent off on the last day, he'd been suspended for the playoff. That would have been a huge blow. But Aubameyang will be back for this one. Nigeria, Gabon. Having said that, I think Nigeria have got so much confidence right now. Look what Eric Schell has done since he's come in. He's obviously taken 6 of the World Cup qualifiers. He's not lost any of them, and he's propelled them into the playoffs in what looked like a pretty much impossible situation. The fact that Nigeria is still alive right now is credit to him, credit to the NFF, and credit to Eric. So I think Nigeria are going to play Gabon, and I think Nigeria are going to beat Gabon. The other semi-final is a much closer game, and I do feel sorry for the Congolese. Such a good campaign, to be honest. Led 2-0 against Senegal. A very, very good Senegal. They haven't lost in years. They beat England 3-1. They led Senegal 2-0. They end up losing 3-2. Congo again, one of the nearly men of African World Cup qualifying. So even if they just drawn 2-2, I know they were 2-0 up, but if they'd drawn 2-2 against Senegal, they would have been in the World Cup now. A draw would have been enough. The fact that they lost, and it was a late goal as well from Senegal, wasn't it? The Lions of Teranga. That puts Congo into second. A couple of 1-0 wins get Congo into the playoffs through virtue of points. And having had to go toe-to-toe with the Senegalese, who, by the way, in the AFCON, they will do the same again, because Senegal and Congo share the AFCON group. Congo face Cameroon. Are Cameroon that good? No. A lot of problems behind the scenes at Cameroon. Samuel Eto'o pulling the strings as ever. But they've got good players. They've got the likes of Mbermo in that attack. Abubakar Choupo-Moting, the older heads, are still around. Obviously, the midfield is very good with Baleba in there. Anana is obviously a massive question mark. He can be a hero, he can be zero on any given day. Congo, I think, will beat Cameroon. I mean, Cameroon, the fact that they lost to Cape Verde, they drew to Eswatini, and they're not playing. Cameroon couldn't even beat Angola on the last day. I think Congo will beat Cameroon, and then Nigeria, Congo would have to play each other again, and these are one-off games in Morocco. They're not home and away. Nigeria, Congo in Morocco to get into the Interconfederation playoff, not to get to the World Cup, to get to the Interconfederation playoff. That's also going to be a tight game. I mean, look what Congo have had to do. They've had to play Senegal twice. Then if they beat Cameroon, they've got to play Nigeria. If they win that, they've got to play some other teams from other continents and other nations. So it's mad the route Congo are doing. They're basically playing a mini World Cup to get there. Nigeria don't care. Nigeria are just happy to be here. In fact, Nigeria planned friendlies against Venezuela and Colombia in November. That's how confident they were going to make it. They had to cancel those. I bet they're happily cancelling them. Anyway, Nigeria-Congo is hard to call. The winner of that game will then go through to the Interconfederation playoff. That is also a mini tournament. There's going to be the African team, the Asian team, which is going to be the UAE or Iraq. There's going to be Bolivia. There's going to be New Caledonia. And two teams from North America. Could be a Honduras and a Curacao, for example. They'll do it by FIFA ranking. The lowest four FIFA ranked nations will play each other in semi-finals. The highest two only have to play the final. I suspect, with the teams that are going in that, the African teams will have the higher FIFA ranking. Maybe not Gabon, but they'll have the higher FIFA ranking. So it may well be that Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo, after winning these, one of them wins these playoffs in Morocco next month, and then they play the Interconfederation game in March. It might be they only have to play one game, let's say against UAE or against Bolivia, to get to the World Cup. So this section in Africa is way more tougher than when it comes to the bit next year with respect. Because I think all these African teams will beat Bolivia, they'll all beat New Caledonia, they'll all beat Iraq or UAE, they'll all beat Curacao, and then all beat Honduras. This is where it matters. So I think whoever wins this tournament in Morocco, even though it's not official, I think they'll go to the World Cup, which means I think we're going to have 10 African teams at the World Cup, which is going to be fantastic. So we've got Nigeria, Gabon, and we've got Cameroon, Congo to look forward to, and we've got the rest of the African nations playing various friendlies, which we'll look forward to as well. Obviously, you've got the likes of Brazil playing Senegal and Tunisia, and Argentina playing Angola and stuff like that. So, who's going to win these playoffs? Are you excited? Nigeria just happy to be here. Congo, we feel like here we go again. Cameroon are a bit of a mess. Gabon, it really is all or nothing. So, anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.